Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my top 25 characters ranking as of November 2024. So I've been in the habit of doing this every 3 months, but this is 4 months since the last time I did it, so maybe that's an even better split. What I'm ranking here, these are non-GLs, everything else is on the table. Conquest, Legendary, Marquees, I mean, there's some of all in this ranking, and what I do, I just compare it to my ranking beforehand. This is all my opinion, and I try to incorporate every game mode in mind, but I have my own hierarchy in place. Like Grand Arena is the most important for a player like me. In Kyber 1, usually that's what people are focused on. But I'm also trying to think about the game as a whole. Like if a character does terribly in all of the game modes, and like SWGOH Press is a good example. I never consider him for this because he's terrible everywhere except Grand Arena. But being good in Grand Arena is the most important thing. So without further ado, let's start by talking about who is out from the last time I did this. We got two buddies, Han and Chewie, and Zori. So, and then the yellow highlight means that they were ranked 21 through 25 before. The purple is 16 through 20, so Han really fell. And a lot of that has to do with, Han hasn't changed, his kit hasn't changed in a long time, but with my experiences from the GoTanks account this year, like starting from the ground up, it made me realize I did have Han above CLS, so kind of have CLS above Han. Let's just bring in 21 through 25. And a big thing in this list is just new characters are coming in, but also just, my opinions may have changed of them from my varied experiences this year. Because in July, I wasn't as far into the account, and now I'm really starting to get the hang of these characters when they're starting to come into their own and their value. So at the bottom, we got Afra. She fell 2 spaces but stayed in, so Han kind of leapfrogged her to come out. And Han, yeah, I mean, he's super good, but like I still think Afra has some value there that you just can't understate. Yeah, she's not like a go-to for me anymore, but she does have potential with just a little boost here and there. She could be Jabba. She's going first, increasing cooldowns. She's good in all other game modes. She's not super limited to GAC. CLS, I mean, classic, super valuable character. I mean, he's pretty versatile in his tags, even Rebel, Unaligned Force User. He's great in Conquest, and he is the leader of that team. I mean, Han and Chewie do pretty well without him, but what I've seen him do for me on that small account Conquest really kind of helped boost him above Han and Chewie for me. Watt's still in the top 25, but his days are numbered. This is death row for a character in the top 25. Jedi Knight Revan has been falling. In the past I have overrated Jedi Knight Revan. That's what I meant to say. But he's still good, but he's more of a supporting character. You throw him in, at the end game, he's not really leading his own team anymore, except for niche situations. But you put him in, he's good for his marked and his savior, but he's kind of flimsy. He doesn't do a ton of damage. Great kit. I call him he's like a maestro. He really conducts the whole battle, even from the ally slide. He is just a useful tool, but he's often just used on a JML team for me, or second fiddle to support Jedi Luke or Jedi Cal or something like that. Ezra Exile is new to the game since the last time I did this list, and it's hard for me to know where to place him. This feels like a good spot. He doesn't have overpowered vibes to me. He's not dominating the team. What we've seen him in mostly recently, we've only had a 3v3 Grand Arena appearance for him, so in 5v5 he's going to be better. My initial impressions from just using him in Squad Arena, seeing him in 3v3 Grand Arena, he's very solid. He's got a lot of supporting characteristics to him. The foresight's great. Putting Exile on an enemy is fantastic. It's just, we kind of need to see more, so this is a good landing spot for him. I do think he is really valuable, and he does have potential to go up higher in this list. Next up, we got 16 through 20, and these are still really solid characters, not completely game-breaking yet. And something notable I want to point out, Jedi Knight Luke, this is the lowest he's ever been. I mean, all these characters, it's pretty much the lowest they've ever been. But Jedi Knight Luke, he was a previous, top 5, top 10 character, and he's really getting pushed out. And that is mainly due to the fact that he's not a huge driver of a team for me anymore. I mean, that's kind of limiting it to my own experience, but like he's not a huge threat on defense. Like I can't remember the last time I saw Jedi Knight Luke on defense in any form. So it's mainly how people are using him on offense, and he is mainly a support unit for Jedi Master Luke at the end game. He's super valuable for assault battles and how he performs in territory battle, but he is not a main driver in prime PvP. Queen Amidala, her team, so it's hard to rank characters that are great as part of a team. So Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are fantastic, and they can kind of work without Queen Amidala, but Queen Amidala is where they really shine. They're needed. She is needed for them to hit their top potential. She has consistently been extremely strong, even without her own overpowered datacron for Galactic Republic. Still has them for Jedi, but just really strong, good in the raid, super valuable. It's just frustrating. I mean, like even taking Bane in there against her is not a 100% sure thing. In TB, she's also quite solid. Yeah, I've actually used her in a pinch when I've already used it. I mean, for me, TB is like the user GLs and then a few other teams. But she picks up the slack when you need her to if you don't have any GLs left. So Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, since they're such a tag team, it's hard to say like, oh, Obi-Wan's the top 25 or Qui-Gon is. But Queen Amidala makes sense. In 17, I think that's a good spot. Traya, she is more one-dimensional. You know, she's not quite like Savage. She's not useless outside of Grand Arena, but her strength in Grand Arena is so good. She is one of the oldest characters and teams that is still extremely viable in Grand Arena, and you just cannot ignore. It's like you gotta use a Galactic Legend against her in Grand Arena a lot of times to make it easy. So she's still really strong and has some unique abilities like Isolate that kind of help her have a little bit more viability, but you know, she's not crazy. Her days, you know, she could fall out eventually, but still a lot stronger than a lot of other characters. And you know, I don't know, she is, so compared to CLS in Grand Arena, she is evergreen. She's never going out of style. I thought CLS was like that, but he's really kind of fallen off in that regard. So this is kind of like the Grand Arena priority shining out. Next, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. He only fell 1, whereas Captain Rex. So Captain Rex was above him last time I ranked it, and I just can't honestly say that Captain Rex is better than Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. I mean, he's extremely versatile and valuable. He's great for newer players. He's just insane value, especially with his tags. I talk about this every ranking, but Rebel Fighter, Phoenix, Clone Trooper. He's just got so many tags. Especially valuable with Galactic Challenges now, where the faction gate is pervasive. It's everywhere, and you really need to have all those factions to get those rewards. But Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, he is just such a beast. I mean, he is built in 100% crit avoid. The anti-turn meter mechanics are pretty unique, and they really make great work out of so many teams that are annoying. Not just in Grand Arena. He doesn't even have Grand Arena Omicrons. Territory Warrior is even better from his Omicrons. And then in places like Conquest, I mean, there's a lot of Imperial Remnant feats right now with newer characters. And some of those that still have a Gear 11, but just throw them with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon against even normally tricky teams. Like Jedi Training Rey, I actually kind of have a lot of trouble with in Conquest, but just throw in Dark Trooper Moff Gideon or any turn meter against any turn meter trained team in Conquest. Even without good data disc, he's kind of rolling it over. So yeah, that's 16 through 20, and let's move on to 11 through 15, which are here in red. So this is more of like the prestige characters right now. We're getting more into legendary status. Actually, all these characters are legendary unlocks, one way or another. I mean, Malak is an epic confrontation, but all the rest of these are legendaries. Darth Revan, his value, I still hold him in very high esteem for the AoE fear, the control he does. His lead is even more useful than Malgus is in some cases, although Malgus is going to be ranked higher, spoiler alert. Darth Revan is fantastic, and Malak is very plug and play. I mean, fear is such a strong debuff, and Malak hands that out like candy. Just don't even touch him. It's just, I don't know. He's awesome. I mean, I don't know if he's kicking butt in TB that much. He's okay. He's nice, but the biggest thing about him is he really controls the enemy team. And that 4th-stream is a clutch in any game mode. Jar Jar, so he's representative for the Gungans. So all the Gungans are strong. Like, the Gungan team is fantastic, but you take any of them alone, you're not going to get very far. Jar Jar is representative of Gungans, and it's kind of hard for me because the Gungans can do well without him, right? But they are never going to reach the same level that they could with him. And, without him, they're pretty easily countered. I mean, like, Phoenix are knocking on their door. And with him, it just elevates them. Like a Gungan's team in 3v3 or 5v5 without Jar Jar. Well, in 5v5, now unless you undersize, you can't really set him on defense because the shield generator is not going to be active. Without him, even in 3v3, you can hit under protection. They're more vulnerable. And he does a lot with the death mark, all the debuffs. I don't know. He's just kind of the nod to the Gungans. All right. Star Killer, he's fallen to 12. When I started doing this list, I think he was top 5. Very Green Arena centric, but he is also good in TW. He's just really flexible, so he has stayed relevant an extremely long time. But it's really just the fact that he's Green Arena only that just hurts him a little bit. If he was just as good in all other game modes as he was in Green Arena, he'd definitely still be top 10. But yeah, I mean, he's valuable. Still a decent Ray counter, although with Ezra sitting with Ray for now, he's not really a surefire thing. But even combine him with Malicos, and they're pretty awesome. Johnny Knight Cal, he's basically offense only, which is kind of tough. I mean, Starkiller mainly stays on offense too, but he's just Cal. He doesn't work well. His AI is stupid. He needs to swap stances, and he just does the same stance over and over again. If they change that, he would definitely still be top 10. But the insta kill is very valuable. He has a lot of support functions. I mean, like he can get up to 60% damage reduction from the other side, or offense reduction. Just crazy stuff. Cleanse, armor shred. I mean, stun, speed down. So many things. Really versatile. In TB and GAC and Territory War, he's just, you can't miss. And the fact that he just has TB Omicrons is great. I hate having to apply Grand Arena Omicrons, and I never applied TB Omicrons, so fantastic there. And now we're getting on to the top 10. And very short drum roll, please. Okay, we have 2 new characters in the top 10, and that's where all these down 2s come from. They got squeezed out by Balin Skull and Great Mothers. So in the season finale of my Grand Arena 3v3, I had a thumbnail titled around, do we even really know how good Balin Skull and Great Mothers are? And the jury's still kind of out. Balin Skull this is not a direct assessment of his value. He has the longest kit in the game, or second longest kit in the game, but Dynasty told me an insanely long kit. He is so convoluted. In 3v3, he has a crazy Whalekron right now with tons of extra stats, which is what really muddles it for me. It's hard to gauge his value, but I do think he's going to be very valuable going forward with his ability to counter GLs and just on defense draw, at least a GL to be safe, or at least Reva to be safe. But that's a lot because of our Grand Arena Omicrons. I mean, outside of Grand Arena, I think he's still going to be good. I might be overrating him. I don't know. But I wanted to give the man his respect. After the first time I faced him, the thumbnail was that he was like an embarrassment or something, or he was a big failure, because I beat him with Gungans. But then I learned that the win rate of Gungans versus them was very low, and I kind of got lucky. But his damage and the damage on his team just gets crazy. Great Mothers, that's a team I've had more hands-on use on my own, using them on offense too. Their Datacron, if I was including their Datacron, they'd be number 1. They'd be the absolute best character in the game that's not a GL. But trying to sift even outside the Datacron, extremely good. And I think they're going to be more of an offense-only character and team in Grand Arena at High Kyber 1. Lower leagues, yeah, still going to be a pain. I mean, I guess I'll say they are like Han. They shoot first, but it's more deadly. They're not just stunning. They're taking away all their protection and quite literally dooming them. Whenever you kill that doomed character, you get another one. They are so good in Conquest. I have them in Relics now. It's just so easy. Before recently, I was limited to using them against Gungans in 3v3, where my opponents were not setting attackers with the Gungans. But they are just OP. It's crazy. I mean, on offense, I don't know if they're going to be a GL killer without their crazy Datacron, but they are just so good, and they're, I don't know, I would be scared to use any non-GL team against them. And I mean, we will see next season after their set expires. But enough about those two new characters. Maybe Balin's too. Yeah, I don't know. But let me know what you think. I mean, I don't have Balin myself, so I can't rate him from an offensive standpoint, but he is crazy strong. Bo-Katan, she's down one, but that's just to make space for Balin. She's super valuable. I mean, in GAC, takes out Lord Vader with ease, and JMS Kenobi's a potential. But she's just so versatile. I mean, like, whenever I would bring her in against any team, A tier, S tier, non-GL team, I had a very high confidence that it was going to go well. You know, you lose a few banners in GAC, but even in TW2, she's really good. TB quite strong. Malgus, you know, don't look at that yet, actually. I scrolled forward a bit. But Malgus, still really strong, great tank, especially in Grand Arena, but even outside of Grand Arena, he's quite tough. I mean, they're a great counter for Reva and the Inquisitors in TW, even though the Inquisitors have some TW Omicrons to go with them. TB is okay, but really Grand Arena is where he shines, which is most important. And then Maul fell 2 spaces. I think he kind of... no, he kind of stayed in line with all these other... These are all down 2. But, I mean, Maul's great. But gauging from where my main account is in High Kyber, the Maul team on its own kind of struggles. You really got to pick and choose. You don't want to put it on defense. Even with the Imperial Super Commando kind of cheesiness, it is kind of limited, and most of the time I still just keep him with Lord Vader. With Lord Vader, he's really good, but they're still not like breakaway, amazing, just incredible GL level. It's not like JMK and his Conquest Lifter unit, but still Maul really strong, so he's eking out top 10 because he has more defensive viability and flexibility than, like, you know, Jedi Cal or Starkiller, because he doesn't have any Omicrons. He's still from that time where you didn't have Omicrons, and I think those characters are just built for all around better. But yeah, that is the 6 through 10, and now finally the top 5. And if you watch the previous videos, there's not really much of a change. I considered knocking down Gas below Malicos, but then I changed my mind because I was thinking of TW and how Malicos performs outside of his native game mode of Grand Arena. So Malicos is just such a beast. He's my man crush. Even though he looks like a hobo, he is amazing. He hits so hard, does so much as a support role. Even not being a leader, it's like he's the leader, you know, with Ufus, which is, I would argue, probably the best faction in the game. I need to make a ranking on that. But it's just incredible. Gas, you know, I kind of keep him higher just because, I mean, they're a really solid team. I mean, they can, and the revive prevention alone is something that really kind of sets them apart. And the fact that they don't have Omicrons and they're not limited to one game mode. In TW, there's always going to be some good use, either taking a Ray team straight up or a good cleanup. Night Sisters preventing revives. Revives are so common now that it's extremely versatile and valuable to be able to prevent them wholesale. Cat, I mean, the insta-kill, the stat boost, they're insane. The flexibility with the tags. She is just crazy good, crazy valuable. And, you know, the fact that she's a Conquest unit that's so hard to get is why JMK is not like a high priority for newer players, because it's all about her. Reva, very hard to get. All these characters are very hard to get just by being Conquest units. Reva, very hard to get, super strong in any game mode, especially Grand Arena with the Death Mark, but even without the Death Mark and all the other stuff she has. Crazy kit. Grand Inquisitor used to be in this top 25 because he's very important to her success, but she's she really took that like before her, that team was the laughing stock, and now it is like, oh crap. Like when she came out, it was like, you better nerf her. Like this is a mistake. How is she so strong? But they never nerfed her, and she's more balanced, but she, you know, she's not what she used to be. It's not like, oh crap, she's so incredible, no one can beat her ever. But and that's because, you know, Malikos is here, and, you know, we got a couple counters, so people aren't as scared of her. But Bane, still the top guy. You can't really use him well on defense, despite what Van Seal used to argue. But, you know, just, even though he's mainly just an offense-only character in Grand Arena, he's not limited to Grand Arena. You can 2v5 a lot of good teams in Territory War, even in Territory Battles. You know, I'm not using the rule of 2, but he still gets his damage ramped up when you put him with C and others. But I mean, Bane on his own, pound for pound, I don't know who he doesn't beat on this list. Great Mothers without their Quran, but like he just takes down everything. He's gonna get his damage to infinity and beyond eventually. He just needs to stay alive. And his real, I don't know, the parity he finds is with GLs. It's not with other characters. And it's funny because he was released as a Sith Eternal Emperor lifter, and now C is more often a lifter to him than the reverse. I don't know if that's actually statistically true, but he just stands on his own. So he is head and shoulders above the pack, and that is my top 25. I'm not doing honorable mentions because that just became its whole other muddied thing. Sticking with top 25 for now. We still do have some marquees. I mean, Great Mothers is a marquee. Marquee plus. Rex is a marquee. A lot of these are conquest units, legendaries, but anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you agree with this list, you know, say so. If you have something you disagree with, let me know. It helps me in my future rankings. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving to those in the US as well. This video should be going out on Thanksgiving. So everyone else, see ya.